Good evening, and welcome to Urban Watch News TV. I'm Jacob Smith, bringing you the latest update on the tragic Midair collision near Washington, D.C., that has left families shattered and investigators scrambling for answers. Recovery efforts intensify in the Potomac River. Authorities have been working tirelessly to recover wreckage from the American Airlines passenger jet and the U.S. Army Black Hawk helicopter that collided last Wednesday over the Potomac River. Officials have confirmed the recovery of a jet engine, large portions of the fuselage, and additional human remains as efforts continue. Salvage crews are now focused on retrieving a wing and other crucial components of the wreckage. Washington, D.C. Fire Department Assistant Chief Gary Steen assured the public that all victims will be recovered as divers and salvage workers follow strict protocols, pausing operations whenever human remains are found. Over 300 first responders are actively engaged in the mission, supported by 2 Navy barges deployed to lift heavier sections of the wreckage. So far, authorities have confirmed the identification of 55 out of the 67 victims. Family members of those who perished were escorted by police to the banks of the Potomac River on Sunday to pay their respects near the crash site. Details of the tragic collision. The fatal collision involved American Airlines Flight 437, carrying 64 passengers and crew, and a U.S. Army Black Hawk helicopter conducting a routine training exercise with 3 military personnel on board. There were no survivors. Investigators say the passenger jet was preparing to land at Reagan National Airport when it collided with the helicopter. Experts emphasize that while air travel remains one of the safest modes of transportation, the highly congested airspace around Reagan Airport presents unique challenges for even the most seasoned pilots. Unanswered questions, conflicting data on altitude. The National Transportation Safety Board (NTSB) has launched a full-scale investigation, but early findings have raised serious questions about the sequence of events leading to the crash. The jet's flight recorder indicated that the aircraft was flying at 325 feet when the collision occurred. Control tower data, however, showed the Black Hawk at 200 feet, which is the maximum altitude permitted for helicopters in that airspace. The discrepancy in altitude readings has yet to be explained, leaving investigators to determine whether pilot error, miscommunication, or equipment failure played a role. The NTSB is now analyzing the Black Hawk's black box and refining air traffic control data for further accuracy. Army aviation expert Colonel Marcotte cautioned against jumping to conclusions, explaining that a pilot could briefly deviate from altitude limits for a variety of reasons, including avoiding birds, responding to obstacles, or maneuvering to prevent a midair collision. Investigators are also examining whether the jet pilots made a last-second evasive maneuver, as flight recorder data showed a sudden shift in pitch just 1 second before impact. The full investigation is expected to take a year or more, but the NTSB aims to release a preliminary report within 30 days. Remembering the victims, the story of flight attendant Ian Epstein. Among the 67 victims was Ian Epstein, a beloved American Airlines flight attendant who was not originally scheduled to be on the doomed flight. His ex-wife, Debbie Epstein, revealed that he had switched shifts so he could go golfing the Sunday before the crash. Debbie described Ian as someone who had a deep passion for travel, saying he had always wanted to be a flight attendant and had pursued his dream career in February 2020. She recalled him once telling her, "I'd rather die doing what I love than not do it." His death has left a profound void in his family's life, especially for his youngest daughter, who is preparing for her wedding on April 12. In a touching tribute, she has chosen to wear the flight attendant wings Ian had on at the time of the crash to honor his memory. Additionally, Debbie has remade her wedding rings for their daughter so she will always carry a piece of her father with her. Looking ahead. As families continue to mourn, the search for answers is far from over. The NTSB, along with military and aviation experts, will be working diligently to determine what went wrong and how such a tragedy can be prevented in the future. We will continue to follow this developing story and bring you real-time updates as more details emerge. For Urban Watch News TV.